Good evening, folks, and welcome to the Pro Wrestling Chat. I'm your host, Sean Patrick Erschen, and this week we are discussing Slammiversary for TNA Wrestling 2024. Always one of their biggest pay-per-views, if not the biggest pay-per-view sometimes. So yeah, they got a huge show, stacked card, and we got one of the biggest crowds they've had in a long time. You know, they are officially sold out for Slammiversary in Montreal, Canada. So yeah, it's going to be exciting, and I think it's going to be one of the biggest shows in a long time. And I think a lot of crazy stuff is going to happen since WWE is now working with TNA. So I think there's going to be a presence of WWE there, especially NXT, because they've mainly been working with NXT, but who knows, it could get bigger than that at some point, I don't know. But let's get into it, shall we? We're going to go through each match, and I'm going to give my thoughts and predictions. I think I did good the last time. And, okay, so for the Digital Media Championship, we have AJ Francis versus PCO, yes. First class with Rich Swann in his corner. I feel like we're going to get a little Steph DeLander presence there with PCO. And we might even get a return for Matt Cardona getting involved, you know. But hey, what's going on, you and PCO? And I think that's going to affect the match. But yeah, I think AJ Francis is going to retain here. Then we got the TNA Knockouts Tag Team Championship, the Militia, with going against Spitfire, and that is Jody Threat and Danny Luna. Now, I always kind of bothered me, this Militia team where Masha Slamovich is Tag Team Champion with Alicia Edwards, who is part of the System, the big, huge stable in TNA Wrestling. But Masha is not part of it. It's like, why didn't they just make her part of the System? I don't get it, you know? So I think that's going to be to their detriment, and I think Spitfire is going to win the TNA Knockouts Tag Team Championship once again. Then we got the X Division Championship. Mustafa Ali, who's been a fantastic X Division champion. Probably one of the best ever, you know. He's had a great run. I love his whole, you know, political character, you know. And you got Campaign Singh in his corner. This is a tough one because Mike Bailey has busted his ass, and I think he does deserve to win the X Division Championship. And for that reason alone, I think he's going to win, just because he's gone through so much, you know, to get this shot at the championship. And he's worked so hard, and it's been a long time since he's been X Division Champion. He's been having banger matches for so long, so I think we're going to see Mike Bailey get it, and I think the crowd is going to go nuts because, you know, he is from Canada. Then we got the big Knockouts World Championship match. Jordynne Grace versus Ash by Elegance, who used to be Dana Brooke in WWE. Now, obviously, Jordynne Grace is hotter than ever, red hot, you know, because she's been working with WWE. She was in the Royal Rumble, and then she was in NXT, taking on the NXT champion. She's just been on a roll, and she's been having these open challenges, taking on different NXT stars, like Tatum Paxley and Izzy Dane, and she's just been on fire. So that's why I think Jordynne Grace is going to retain, because Ash by Elegance has not really gone over as well as they thought. They haven't really done a good job presenting her character. I feel like they could have done a whole lot more with it, you know, with the whole elegance thing. I feel like they just haven't done enough to get her over, you know. And you've got the personal concierge, the Iceman, George. He's been doing a great job, and he's really trying his best to get her over, but I feel like Ash herself has not really made her presence known too well. She hasn't really gotten on the mic. She hasn't really cut promos, really. And she hasn't really had that great of matches, really. So I don't feel like she's quite earned a championship spot. So I don't see her one. I feel like Rosemary is going to get involved because she has been in the last match they had. Rosemary, I think, is going to ruin it for Ash by Elegance. And you know what else I feel that's huge that's going to happen here is after Jordynne Grace beats Ash by Elegance, Natalya is going to come out and challenge Jordynne Grace for the Knockouts Championship. Because the fans have been dying to see that. Everybody wants to see that happen. And I think it's going to happen because Natalya herself has been saying she wants to take on Jordynne Grace. So now that they're working together with WWE, make it happen. Why not? You got the Canadian Natalya. Make it happen. Another huge thing that I might just be dreaming here, but sometimes they announce who the TNA Hall of Famer is going to be at Slammiversary. Not always, but in the past they have. So I think this is the perfect time with that hot Montreal crowd, 4,000 people. I think it's time to finally put AJ Styles in the TNA Hall of Fame. This needs to happen now because TNA is working with WWE and things are going very well, and this is just a no-brainer. This has to happen. If AJ Styles is ever going to get in the TNA Hall of Fame, which would be absolutely absurd if he doesn't, now is the time, not later. When things are going well, things might not always be going well for this relationship. Things could go sour. That happens, So I feel like they need to strike while the iron is hot and make AJ Styles the TNA Hall of Famer to be inducted at Bound for Glory. And maybe he might have a match at Bound for Glory. So I think he should also get in that TNA ring and have one last match in TNA too. So yeah, that would just be the icing on the cake. So that would be awesome, and I think it needs to happen. It has to happen. Alright, then next we got the TNA World Tag Team Championship, which is not actually set yet. We have one more episode of Impact coming up where the Hardys are taking on the System for the Tag Team Championship, which I thought was a mistake. I don't know why they're having such a big match just before Slammiversary. Why didn't they just have that match at Slammiversary? So that's why I think the Hardys are not going to win against the System because, we got Slammiversary coming up. It'll be ridiculous for the Hardys to win the TNA Tag Team Champions at a regular Impact just before Slammiversary, which is a couple days later. Yeah. So I think that it's going to end up, there's going to be shenanigans in that match. I think the System is probably going to beat down the Hardys and get disqualified, So I think it's going to end up being a triple threat. The System versus the ABC versus the Hardy Boys for the Tag Team Championship. And I think the Hardys deserve one last run with the TNA World Tag Team Championship. And I think, you can't go against the grain here. You're going to have that huge Montreal crowd, and they're going to go nuts if the Hardys win. So I think they need to win here. I think it's going to be the Hardy Boys winning the Tag Team Championship. And I do think we're going to get a couple returns here, too, as well. I think we're going to see Kylan King come back, because she was out on injury for a long time. And I think she's finally getting around to getting back in ring shape. And I think she's going to show up on this pay-per-view. And I think we might also get Killer Kelly back, too, who also went out on injury, but she has returned in the indie scene, so I think she needs to come back to TNA. And she might end up getting involved in the Knockouts tag team match, because, you know, she was tag team with Masha Slamovich for a long time, so I think she might get involved. And yes, we're going to have an NXT presence here for sure, I think, when it comes to the Rascals. So the Rascals, we saw them show up on NXT. And they're working with Wes Lee once again. So, and they have been feuding with the No Quarter Catch Crew, which is a stable in NXT with Charlie Dempsey. And I feel like that's going to be the big match at Slammiversary with the NXT presence. So I feel like the Rascals are going to get together with Wes Lee in TNA against the No Quarter Catch Crew. And the winner is going to be the Rascals with Wes Lee. And finally, we have the 6-way elimination match for the World Heavyweight Championship, which is huge. This is a huge main event because you got 6 of the biggest stars right now in the main event roster. You got the TNA World Champion Moose, who is part of the System stable. You got Steve Macklin. You got Nick Nemeth, who they say might not be cleared. They were saying that on Impact last week, so I have a feeling Nick Nemeth might end up not being in the match for some reason. And you got Kazarian, the king of TNA, and Joe Hendry, who is just red hot right now. He went over to NXT and was in the main event on the NXT show, so that was huge, and the fans just went nuts. The fans freaking love him in WWE. So it's like, man, he is just over as all hell right now. So that's why I think Joe Hendry is walking away with the TNA World Heavyweight Championship, because they need to capitalize on his success. I mean, he has a huge hit on the Billboard charts in the UK for his theme song, I Believe in Joe Hendry. I believe in Joe Hendry. The crowd just loves him, and I think he has all the momentum right now, and I think that's why he's going to win the TNA World Heavyweight Championship. But, huge but here, he is not going to pin Moose. So that's going to be the big feud, I think, going into Bound for Glory, and I think that's going to be the main event of Bound for Glory, Joe Hendry versus Moose for the World Heavyweight Championship, because Moose is going to be like, hey, you never beat me. You pinned, like, Steve Macklin or somebody, you know. He's not going to beat Moose, and Moose is going to be pissed off, you know, and the System's going to be pissed off. And they're going to be out for blood, they're going to be out for revenge, and I think that's a good story, you know. And where I said Nick Nemeth might not be in this match, I feel like Mike Santana might be. I think he's going to take Nick Nemeth's spot. And he's going to be one of the final 4, I think. Because he's also red hot in the company. The fans love him. You know, he's had a great return. So yeah, I think he's going to be in there. Also, I think there's got to be some spot for Eric Young and Sami Callihan on this pay-per-view, because right now there isn't. So what are they going to do? I think they'll probably have some kind of tag team match, or maybe they'll fight each other, because, you know, they're TNA legends, you know. There needs to be some presence for Eric Young in Slammiversary. I mean, come on. Alright, guys, that's my thoughts and predictions for Slammiversary 2024. Thank you for joining me, Sean Patrick Erschen, in the Pro Wrestling Chat. Tune in and lock up.